Hey guys, this is Austin Weave. So the sermon I have for you guys today is called Same Old Gospel. So in 2 Timothy 3 verse 2, I'm just going to jump right into it. In 2 Timothy 3 verse 2, it says, okay, I'm going to read 2 Timothy 3 verse, just 2 Timothy 3. But understand this, that in the last days there will come times of difficulty, where people will become lovers of self, lovers of money, proud, arrogant, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, heartless, unappeasable, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not loving good, treacherous, reckless, swollen with conceit, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having the appearance of godliness but denying its power. Avoid such people. Okay. Does that sound familiar to you? I mean, in churches today, especially in churches in the West, we promote a lot of this stuff, right? I mean, lovers of self? Really? I mean, we highly promote being a lover of self, right? We've taken Jesus' words that say, love your neighbor, and we've said, well, I think we need to love ourselves more, right? I mean, when Jesus says, love your neighbor as yourself, he was talking to a bunch of selfish people, and we made that about ourselves. Isn't that weird? Isn't that strange? Or lovers of money. How many times have you heard people say, well, God's going to fill your bank account tomorrow morning, or something like that, right? We're proud. Pride is a big issue in our culture today. You know, we have tons of issues with pride, right? When it comes to building up pride and stuff like that. You know, always, be proud of what you do, be proud of who you are, be proud of yourself, your accomplishments. Arrogant. Guys, we have a serious problem with arrogance in our culture today. This is very huge. But here's the issue. This is called godliness in the last days. That's what this chapter is called. This means that this is in the church, guys. This isn't the world. This is going to happen in the church. Okay? And he goes on to say in 4 verse 3, he says, I'm going to start in 4 verse 2. Preach the word. Be ready in season and out of season to reprove, rebuke, exhort with complete patience and teaching. For the time is coming, this is verse 3, for the time is coming when people will not endure sound teaching, but having itching ears, they will accumulate for themselves teachers to suit their own passions. They will turn away from listening to truth and wander into myths. But as for you, be sober-minded, endure suffering, do the work of an evangelist, and fulfill your ministry. Okay, you guys hear that? So, what he says is, for us is, the time is coming when people aren't going to endure sound teaching anymore, right? People aren't going to listen to the teachings of this book anymore, but instead, having itching ears, they'll accumulate for themselves people to tell them what they want to hear, right? So they're just going to go on the street corner, they're going to find someone to say, hey, you're a good person, right? Sound familiar? Sounds kind of like our culture today, right? Hey, you're a good person. It's weird how people can twist the gospel in our culture today. They'll turn away from the truth. Say for example, we can take the gospel and we can look at where it says, all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. And there are people that'll tell you, I think that means you're a good person. I think you need to read that again, right? Because it's telling us that no one is a good person, right? They will turn away from listening to the truth and wander into myths. As for you, be sober-minded and self-controlled. Okay? That's just, an incredible message for our culture today. in Matthew 13, it says, sorry, Matthew 13, it says, it's talking about the parable of the sower. Okay, and I never caught this before. I hope I can share something with you guys here today. In the same day Jesus went out of the house and sat beside the sea. Great crowds came and gathered about him, so that he got into a boat and sat down. The whole crowd stood on the beach, and he told them things in parables, saying, okay, and this is where it kind of gets kind of strange, right? He basically tells a story. So picture this. Jesus, you've been hearing about this Jesus guy for a long time, right? And you go out to hear him speak. You hear just this fantastic speaker of God. And he goes out to speak, and he says this. So a farmer goes out to spread seeds. And as he was spreading it, some of it, it was just kind of landing all over the place. And, some of it landed on the path. And, birds came and ate it. Some of the seeds fell on the rocky ground, and, there was still a little bit of dirt on there, so it grew up, but as soon as the wind came, it just wiped it out. Other seeds fell in the weeds, and, the weeds grew up with it, so it just kind of choked it out. Other stuff landed in the good soil, and just sprouted up and produced an amazing crop. So he who has ears, let him hear. Then he walks away. Okay? So his disciples follow him, and he doesn't explain this to anybody. He just walks away, right? Isn't that weird? Isn't that a weird thing to do? Here's the thing, guys. He explains why a little while later. His disciples come up to him and say, "Hey, Jesus, well, what do you mean by that?" And he tells his disciples a little while later. He says, he says, "This is why I speak to them in parables, because seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. Indeed, in their case, the prophecy of Isaiah is fulfilled." That says, hang on a sec. So he says, so though seeing they do not see, and though hearing they do not understand. So basically what he's doing is he's saying, I said that so they would come back to me for clarity. Right? And his disciples did that. But here's the thing. He goes on to say this, okay? He says, to you it has been given to know the secrets of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been given. So that's why I speak to them in parables, so they come back to me for clarity. Then he says, I speak to them